Hi guys, welcome back. Flossmass day 18. Well, for you guys it's day 18. I'm actually pre-recording this video, which I did explain in my last video. There is going to be a couple of pre-recorded clips throughout the next few days, and that is because today for me is actually the 16th. I am traveling early hours of the 17th. My taxi is actually coming at 2 a.m. in the morning. I guess tomorrow morning, but I'm kind of thinking tonight because there's no way I'm going to bed tonight. But there's a couple of things that I wanted to do in this Flossmass series where I need to be here to do it because my suitcase is full. I'm carrying hand luggage. I cannot take all of these finishes with me, and really I don't want to travel with all of them. It's a bit insane. So today I am just focusing on my freebie designs that I have on my channel. Now there's a couple that are from previous years that I am not showing. They are still available on my channel if you would like to go and see them. I am going to show two from last year, which is when I started designing the freebies. And then the rest are all from this year. And I actually started this freebies on the 17th. Originally it was just releasing a couple of freebie charts. Then I created the freebies on the 17th series because I wanted to give back. I wanted a way to say thank you for all of the support I get on this channel, for all of the support I get on social media, being able to share my cross stitching. Now, I am the type of person that I have to justify to myself the things that I do, and I work in a boarding school and it can get quite hectic. You've probably seen from this Flossmass series there's not been much stitching. There's been a lot of running around, a lot of sorting the students out, and this gave me a way to give back to me. So I could start the FlossTube channel and I could share my stitching, and I had a purpose. I could give myself the time I needed to stitch because it felt like I had the purpose of sharing it with others and being part of the community, and I absolutely loved it. And then it really started with the first freebie that I'm going to show you is this little one called Bloom. Now this is the very first design I have ever designed completely myself. I've done some where I didn't like a pattern, so maybe I didn't like a turkey, I think, in one of the plum streets, so I switched that out and designed a little beehive to go in there. But this is the first piece that I designed as an actual separate stitch. Now there's a lot of things I would change about this piece, but I also love this. This is actually a pattern from last year. All of these are still available on my channel. You can go back through the videos, or there is a FlossTube extra where a lot of these are also based in. But they are still available, and this little one is the one where it started it all. I actually had a conversation with one of my students where I kept telling them that they should try. Just stop being afraid and just try. What's the worst that can happen? And I actually felt like such a hypocrite because I always wanted to design and share stuff, but was too terrified to do it. And then I kind of said my charts aren't good enough for anything. No one would want to stitch it. And what kind of person does that make me if I am trying to get my students to step out of their comfort zone and do things, and if I wasn't? So Bloom kicked off everything with the charting. I'm not going to give the details of all of them because we will be here all night, and I have got limited time tonight because I have a taxi coming in a couple of hours and I need to edit and film all of this stuff. So Bloom is the first one that had this started. This was actually stitched with a Jodrell Designs fabric and Jodrell Designs thread. My first time stitching really with variegated thread. This is the only one that I probably would change, just because if I'd stitched it slightly differently, you wouldn't have this huge white patch. But I absolutely love it. Bloom kicked everything off. So that is the first one. The second ones that I'm going to show you, these are my Flossmass series from last year. So these two sets are the only ones from previous years. So I actually released 5 charts. Now, I haven't stitched the other 2. I still need to stitch them. I know they work. I stitched up these ones so the colours work and everything. But this was my Flossmass series last year. I actually released 5 gingerbread gingham patterns. So last year's theme, most students picked gingerbread, and that's why these ones were created. So you have the little solo gingerbread. I love these two, are my favourite, with their little sugar cookies for joy and Noel. I'm counting this as 1, even though there is technically 5. I only have 3 to show you, but there is 5 charts. So when I say I have released, I'm going to show you 13 of my designs. There are more, but if I released multiple charts together, which I did quite frequently, I'm still counting them as 1, but you can count them as much as you would like to. There was other charts that I released in 2022. Do I think they're up to the standard of my charting now? No, because I have learnt so much more. And if anyone wants to know, the charting software I use is called PC Stitch. I think it's PC Stitch 11. But that is the charting software I use to design my pieces. But there are so many out there. I am interested in looking at the Caterpillar cross stitch one that they have recently just released, but we will look into that. So those are the 2 that I have from previous. Now the next 11 are ones that I have released this year. So in 2023 I released 11 sets. I'm going to say sets because I'm looking around at this table. Some of them are single patterns, some of them are multiple patterns together. So I had 11 different sets of charts. So the first one for this year was actually my Valentine's freebie. So what I actually started doing was, at the start of the year, I was only releasing during the holidays. This is probably one of my most elaborate finishes because I actually did the paper quilling of every single one of these flowers stuck behind, and there are flowers underneath the charts as well. I was actually doing the paper quilling and was working on that. So love notes. This was actually also inspired by my students. I wanted something that was school themed for Valentine's Day, and the paper flowers where I was actually preparing to teach the students how to do the quilled paper flowers. So I was practicing and had hundreds of them on my desk. So this is love notes. The next one I actually have, and this is probably really bad, I will insert a photo up here. It is the birthday sampler. Now you'll see this is a generated photo from PC Stitch because I haven't actually finished stitching this piece. If you watched my whip parade, which I think was shown, it was actually shown today, so on the 16th, so a couple of days back for you guys, you will see that I didn't actually stitch this one. This was one I spent so long designing because I wanted it to be really special for my birthday. And every single element of this means so much to me. And I did stitch what I showed you in the whip parade. I did stitch that on the 17th, but I only touched this pattern, this whip, once this year, and that was on my birthday on the 17th of May. Now I know all the colours work together because I've used them in other charts that I've designed, but also in charts that other people have used. I pulled out all of my favourite kind of DMC combo for this one. So birthday sampler is one of them that I have not stitched, so I don't have a fully finished one, but that one is still available on my channel. So the next ones I have is, I call them Time to Stitch, and this was based just after I found Coffee Crafts fabrics. Yeah, I think it's called Coffee Craft Design Fabrics, I don't know. I will link their Facebook group down below. She sells hers on Facebook and I absolutely fell in love with her fabrics. I shop her Super Sunday an awful lot. She has one at the end of the month where I will be joining as well. So I did 2 designed kind of along the line of what I see. So she has a coffee ringed logo of hers, so I just decided to stack the fabrics like I'd been shopping with her gorgeous fabrics, and then I've stitched coffee cup, and then on this one it says, "You can't buy happiness, but you can buy fabrics." So those were my 2 kind of inspired by finding her. So my inspiration comes from all over the place. Some of it comes from my students, Some of it comes from different things that happen around, and some of it comes from you guys where you've reached out and you've said, could you maybe design a chart that goes along this? So the next one I have is my bee sampler. And this one got an awful lot of love. I love this one. Obviously, as Be More Creative, bees are something I absolutely love stitching. I wanted to, this actually ties back to my bloom chart. I wanted to release something. This was actually released about a year and 2 months after, so you can see how far the difference is in my charting. But I wanted to do something along the lines of bloom, but update it a little bit. So this is what I created. I absolutely love it. This is the same beehive that can be found on my birthday sampler. I did take that from the birthday sampler, and then I really wanted to show the quilted flowers because I just started getting into quilting. So I wanted to reflect both of my hobbies in there, and I absolutely love this one. I love all of them, but this one has, it's just so easy and so quick to stitch, and I've seen a lot of people stitch this one. This one was very popular for people to stitch. The next one I have was my World Cross Stitch Day release, Happy Stitching, which is my saying at the end of every video. And this one was just a very small, very simple monochromatic band sampler. Just celebrate World Cross Stitch Day. So this was like a bonus. It wasn't a freebies on the 17th. It was a bonus video. The next ones I have is 2 of them I released at the same time, and I've had a couple of people stitch these ones as well. These were my Witch's Broomstick duo that I released, Broomstick Cafe and Broomstick Parking. Let me hold them so you can see them. But these were ones, once again, I absolutely loved the pieces, super fun to stitch. And these also stitch up really well. These pillows, I have really stuffed them. They're quite chunky compared to my other ones. But I've seen these have been stitched up quite a lot and people have had lovely feedback about those. The next one I have is probably the one I am the most proud of my finishing. And kind of all of my finishes that I did this month all featured very heavily on the picks and the big bows. So this one is called Spooky. This was my, I think it was September release in preparation for Halloween. And it was just this really giant, let me move the bow out the way a little bit so you can hopefully see the letters. I really wanted, I love the way that when you design, you can do what you wanted. Now, I wanted to change out, I wanted to find a Halloween word where I could put 2 little ghosts in the middle, and spooky went along with that one. So I did the 1 strand on the black letters, so they looked a little bit vintage. I wanted the colour of the fabric to shine through in places. I didn't want it to look perfect. And then 2 strands on my little ghosties, so they stood out a lot. This is probably my favourite finish. As I said, I really enjoyed stitching the chart as well, but this one is quite full coverage compared to my other ones, so it took a little bit longer to stitch, but really enjoyed that one. The next one I released, this is the first time that I worked with a subscriber. They reached out and asked for a Remembrance Day chart, and this is what I created for Always Remember. I have to say, one lady just took the poppy and stitched it over 1 on 25. No, I can't remember if it was like 28 or 32 count. She stitched it really small and made it in a button that she was wearing. She shared photos with me for that. That was absolutely lovely. I've had a couple of people share their finishes on this one. This was just obviously the first time I worked with someone. And I loved their feedback, absolutely loved it, and was so happy to be able to design something to share with people that it was their idea. So absolutely love that one. So that was Always Remember. We have 3 more for this year. Now this was my biggest release. Now I am going to be taking mine out of the frame because I do not like this frame. I ordered the frame. It's the first time I've ordered a frame online. Oh, it's a reflection of the camera. I was trying to work out what the reflection was. This is the first time I ordered a frame online, and I ordered a frame that was way too big. I thought it was going to be where the, like, you can see the mat, I thought that was going to be the size of the frame, and then I could just put my piece in the middle. I didn't realize the frame was going to be this big, but because of the move, I didn't want to unmount it and risk damaging it. But this is the One Kind Word sampler. This is the piece that has been shared the most, and really it means so much. My students loved this piece. This actually is a piece that I need to restitch because my students have asked for it to go in their common space. They know the reason it was designed. They saw me stitching it. A couple of them actually stitched on this one as well. We did a little bit of a cross-stitching start with them where I did a little lesson with a couple of them that were interested. And the girls, they were sitting, filling in, where is she? The last two girls at the end, they sat and filled them in for me. And it means a lot that they were part of this project. So this one will be going in their common room and I'll stitch one. But I need to find a different way of finishing it because I really do not like the size of that frame for it. I could just buy another frame, I just don't know. And then the last two I have, I don't actually have with me because they are currently on Christmas trees. So the first one is my first release for this December Flossmass, and that was my Cryptids one, so I will insert a photo up here. These were the ones that my students decided what theme they wanted, and they picked to go with cryptids. So we have the cryptids for them. The Loch Ness is still my favourite, and the Loch Ness has been a lot of other people's favourite. They've absolutely loved it. And then the last one is the one that I released yesterday, and it is called Winter Sleds. So I'll insert another photo up here. And Winter Sleds has been my elegant Christmas piece this year. Very simple, very easy and quick to stitch. They look absolutely amazing on these sleds. You can still get these sleds as of the time of filming this on the 16th. I'm hoping they're still going to be available when this goes up. But Create Nostalgia, which is a UK-based website, has these sleds on there for £4.50. I did paint mine. I explained it all in the video yesterday. So definitely worth checking them out. That was a really nice piece, really nice and fun way to stitch. I have restitched those and done them as gifts as well. I've done them as gift tags, and one of them I did put on a sled that is an ornament for a friend. So those are the finishes. So I've had 11 this year, which I was really surprised about because I only started this series properly in June. But, well, I guess in May with my birthday sampler, but I did release a couple at the start of the year as well. But in today's video, I have shown you 13 because I did pick out 2 of the ones that I released last year as well. So I will be carrying this series on in 2024. There will be one every single month on the 17th. Some of them, as you saw this year, I did bump the video up. So like the One Kind Word sampler, that was bumped up because I wanted it to come out at a specific time, but generally they do come out on the 17th of each month. All of these charts are available completely for free. I do not ask for anything in return. If you do want to support the channel, then please do subscribe, hit that bell notification, because that way you can keep seeing what freebies come out and you keep in touch with everything that I do. But also it really does help and encourage me to keep designing and keep creating the content for you guys. As I said, this is my way to give back and say thank you, and it means so much. And this year has been a little bit hard. I have had quite a bit of criticism regarding these designs, but then that is overcounted by the fact that I've had so many lovely people reach out and say thank you, I look forward to stitching this, or this design is really nice. It's a lot of work goes into this stuff, and it's also a little bit of me that goes out in every single one of these, and I just can't wait for next year, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Please share this video, let other people know about this, let other YouTubers know about this video, because they can then help share the message. And I'm doing this to give back, and sometimes we're not in a position where we can go out and buy new charts or new threads. And that's another thing. All of my charts are, I design them as stitch from stash. So please feel free to change any colour. I do list colours in the pattern, and that is purely because the first time when I released Bloom, I said that I use Joddery Designs threads, but you will need a pink, a purple, a green, a black. And so many people kept messaging me, can you tell me what colours? Can you tell me what colours? So I do put in there colours. I do design and say I've used, most of mine are DMC. I'm slowly branching out and trying, like, using other colours because I have them in my stash. But please do not feel like to stitch these charts you have to go out and buy things. You really don't. The whole purpose of this is stitch from stash. None of these are huge pieces. A couple of them are quite big, but they are using DMC colours. You can use any fabric you want. If you don't want to stitch a whole chart, don't stitch the whole chart. I mean, I've had so many people that didn't want to stitch this one. They didn't want to stitch this part, but they just like the wording and the border around it, so they just changed it. Please feel free to do that. The only thing that I do ask is that you give credit, and when you do share things like this, tag me in them. I love to see them, and get other people to come to the channel and download their chart. Please don't just pass it on. Please just do support in that way. So if you can, make sure you hit that subscribe button. 2024 is already so much fun. I've got 4 designs for later on in the year which are already designed or in the process of being stitched. I'm really loving it, and all of these pieces I stitch myself. But I'm hoping that next year I can bring out even more things. And as I said, the freebies on the 17th month will be continuing, and that will be the design. At the moment, I'm not looking into selling any of my designs. This is just something that I'm having fun creating for you guys to give back to the community. So thank you so much. I'm going to leave it here. I will be opening advents in the other videos because this video is already quite long and I need to edit it. So thank you so much for guys. I really hope you're enjoying the Flossmass. Thank you so much for the lovely words, and hopefully you've got some new ideas of charts that you may want to stitch. So I'm going to leave you guys. Have a good evening and happy stitching. Bye all.